Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Christine Lai, for this extremely rich sharing, very personal, but also very comprehensive theological reflection. I think it is unique, and you have shown how you can combine and reflect on your different human experience, the business experience. Now, we have a happy, really coincidence that also our next speaker on June 29, Professor Stephen Park, is also here joining us and has also significantly contributed. We also see, by the way, these talks, not just random talks each after another, but yes, we aim to create a certain movement and to follow up. See, I think that's also became very strongly out of this extremely rich talk by Dr. Lai. As of course, one element is also to develop our understanding, dialogue with other wisdom traditions. And as Dr. Christine Lai has already touched on the key topic of Yuanrong, I thought this would be just an element where then Professor Park could resonate the talk. So thanks again very much, Christine. Now I would now give over to Professor Stephen Park. You can unmute yourself, and for the others, feel also welcome to use the chat room below, so that you don't hesitate to ask questions. So yes, may I ask now Professor Park to shortly resonate to the talk. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Father Rosalind, and thank you, Dr. Christine Lai, for your very, how can I say, inspirational talk. Briefly introducing myself, I'm a business professor teaching human resource management, labor relations, and for the last more than 1 decade now, I've been interested in the field we call, the stakeholder management, CSR, CSV, and eventually it is kind of boiled down to the very, ultimate agenda of integral human development, as you portrayed, Dr. Lai. So listening to your talk, I was very, I had too much food for thought. So I don't know how can I summarize all this, and how can I raise good questions for you.
Maybe you should write a paper.
Yeah, I should write a follow-up paper. That's right, exactly.
I think, yeah.
Okay, so and also at the same time, me as a Catholic, I'm very much interested in this. The Catholic social teaching, and eventually, how can I integrate this Catholic social teaching, including this integral human development and all the the Pope Francis teaching and his encyclical teaching and so on and so forth, with our current, the subject in terms of business management and human resource management and sustainability management and so on and so forth. So for that said, I had very, much inspiration from your talk. And if I can, and also it was very interesting to listen to this Buddhism philosophy from Buddhism, which is Yuanrong, right? In Korean we pronounce it Yuan, but I'm sure that we should, it's the same Chinese characters. So personally, well, even though I don't know much about Buddhism philosophy, but I think this concept of Yuanrong is very important and foundational kind of the spiritual building block for our Asian peoples, further considering of this kind of subjects, I guess. Okay, so and while I was listening to your talk, if I can raise some questions.
Yeah.
The first, from your professional experience as human resources management professionals, how did you find this subject of integral human development, with the in conjunction with the currently practicing the human resource management, the programs in companies? And my question is, did you find some sort of, well, even though you mentioned some of those in your talk, but my question is, did you could you please share with us about some of the some memorable experience that you can share with us about this examples, right, in the workplace, examples of human resource management practices that integrates all these concepts. The integral human development, Yuanrong, and spiritual leadership, and turn out to be a good the performance results. And I'm particularly interested in the situation where that kind of observation of yours of integrating this common practice of HRM and this spiritual dimension of the spiritual dimension of thinking, that relationship, that connectedness is changing over time as we are eyewitnessing all this, the development in human community, including COVID-19. So that is one question that I have. If I can raise another question, which is the second and last question, then I can I can toss the microphone to you, Dr. Lai. And the second question is, oh, by the way, before I go over the second question, me as a Catholic, the Cathedral of St. John is one of my the favorite destination while I'm traveling Hong Kong. So I was very glad to listen to your experience with this beautiful place. And my question is a little bit, related with that kind of observation. In Hong Kong, whenever I travel to Hong Kong, as you said, and as most of people observe, this very unique, the geographical location where the history is so unique, right? Western culture and Eastern culture integrated, and very dynamic history, and so on and so forth. And you mentioned the tradition of Yuanrong, and also this Western kind of Catholicism based kind of the philosophy. So my question is, Hong Kong companies, how do Hong Kong companies view this subject? Number one subject is the spiritual leadership and integral leadership, and so on and so forth. And in particular, with respect to this kind of very unique situation of Hong Kong. So that is, in Hong Kong companies, are there some examples or some movement, as you mentioned, which sort of integrate this Western and Eastern kind of the historical the backgrounds integrated together and producing some good exemplary cases. I'm very much interested in that because in Korea, we have sort of a similar situation. Okay, thank you. Once again, thank you so much for your beautiful presentation, Dr. Lai.
Thank you. Shall I answer this first before, because I know the chat room got some questions. Okay, sure. The first question about human resources management and IHD. And I have to declare that IHD, when I researched on IHD, it was this last 3 years approach. After my 2019, after my practical theology doctorate. So the IHD concept, of course, there are IHD already concepts. And my human resources experience myself was quite a number of years experiences in the past. So, but I try to share my views, right? I'm not right now practicing HR director, but I would like to share my view that how to see human resources director or human resources program can include this IHD. I think, at least I think I was doing, but at that time, I didn't know about the concept of IHD. Number one, the humanistic element or humanistic leadership, I should say, or humanistic culture, it has to be cultivated in everyday life. Just quote you an example. My human resource department, we did a lot of exit interviews, investment bank. Give you a package, gone. Then that guy, dealers can find a job next day because a lot of headhunters will. But then I think for myself as well as my team, we nurture a culture in that exit interview or even the interactions is not just passing a package. We did that's why I call myself a social worker in the business world. Use a lot of time to discuss about this person, career, not only career, but life, but purpose. Because I have an experience of private banking had got a redundancy package being laid off, but he is, I think, more senior in terms of age, and he has been working for many years, and he really bumped his head into the wall and very emotional. He couldn't talk or tell his wife, etc. So we spent days and after days to talk through. I think this is a relationship, and this is a treating people as a human being, because easily, while we are working in a very competitive world, very busy, we can easily treat people as a product or as an object. This one example. I don't think we are saying that, oh, this is integral human development. No, but I think it is embedded in the culture. Number two is what I shared about the diversity and inclusion. That is not just a program. I think human resources is not a program. It's not a performance management program. It's about how, especially I think, if a strong and human resource director worked with the management, how can we put an agenda into the business to create this culture of purpose, time for reflection, life stories into it, so that, but also linked with the long-term success. I don't think it is just promoting a program, again, like a checklist. I think it's very important for that, the wisdom to know the business mind, business sense, business world, like the secular world, which I showed the picture. The secular world, we still need to fulfill this secular world because the balance sheet, right? The profit, the 3 Ps, the planet, the profit, the people. But we still need to fulfill the profit. Otherwise, we don't care about people, right, anymore. So if linking with the whatever we do in terms of putting that value, that purpose in it, I think that, but also linking with the result as well as strategy, showing to management that is a long-term success. It's not short term. And I think while I talk about employee engagement, one simple thing, the employees suggested a fruit basket in the department because everyone worked very, very late and they wanted to go home early and everyone got stomachache. Then the employees suggested, oh, let's have a fruit basket in each unit, each department. Everyone can grab a banana, grab an apple. Only these small things. It's not only a gesture. But I remembered an investment banker, a good friend, and telling me, oh, I turned down the headhunters, another company, although how many percentage premium, 30, 40%, but not because of your banana, but because I think, oh, this company cared about me. So I think this engagement of the heart is exactly the spirit and the value of IHT. So this is the first question I would like to answer. The second question about very difficult question, how spiritual leadership or integral leadership in the East and West culture in this context, how can we put in together? And is there any company, I think Lei Gamgei, have you heard? Li Gamgei, the soy sauce, very famous soy sauce. I think they have put a lot of Chinese Confucian spirit. You can just Google, there are a lot of family cases that even their motto, their idiom, they put a lot of Confucian and Chinese value into it, because of course they need to merge with the management system. A lot of Western management systems still, right? We need to have a structure, system, governance. But then they have, because I went to the annual dinner, and also they have an annual ancestors worship to the cemeteries. Not only the leaders, not only the family, but with all the colleagues. I was surprised to see. And then in the annual dinner, the China colleagues came. Of course, a lot of performance, but a lot of this, like a family. We always said, oh, family running business, but they're very, very successful. Then they modernize it. They have also different groups, different teams. One team is also about health foods, and then they collaborated with Harvard. You can share Harvard Center, and they use the terms healthy or happiness center, trying to use the scientific method to show health and then linking with their food products. But also a very, very important, I think, is that there are examples, or like Li and Feng, Victor Li. I think he is more in a Western Harvard management stream. But then I think there are also a lot of Chinese values in it. So just my limited knowledge to answer that. Don't ask me more tough questions, Professor.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Professor Park, would you briefly also resonate to this also very comprehensive answer, maybe also this context, what you also describe in your papers, business for peace, or any shortly, so just.
Yes, while I was listening to Dr. Lai's presentation, wonderful presentation again, and that this very topic of paradigm shift, especially in business management, the way of running business. This is the very important topic, I guess, in the field of business. And business for peace, this sounds rather too much, but as Father Roslin mentioned, I'm very much interested in that topic. And if you take a look at UN community, especially UN Global Compact, they have a very special platform called Business for Peace. So I think Business for Peace is kind of a ultimate dimension of business, paradigm shift in business, which means serving for society, creating shared value with society, and even with nature. Companies can be better off and can make sustainable profits. So this is the whole notion of doing good and doing well, this kind of paradigm. And the thing is, in business, while we are witnessing this kind of paradigm shift or need for paradigm shift, maybe it's a very drastic shift. And the question is, how can we do this? The people, well, for example, how about Professor Michael Porter published his article CSV in only like 2011 or 12, and UN Global Compact was established with the entering into the new millennium and so on and so forth. So people start talking about this kind of need for change for the last 2 decades or so, but still people talk about how can we do this. So it's not easy way to tackle the problem, because it's all about way of looking at things. It's a paradigm per se, right? So more and more, I think scholars in this who have been interested in this field start looking at the power of purpose. And you mentioned about this McKinsey report and so on, and purpose and value-driven business. And then finally, how can that change people, especially people's way of looking at the world, worldview? And in order to do this, I think it boils down to the question of integral human development. It's a holistic and whole person development. And if business can do that, if business can do that, integral human development, whole person development, and also whole system development, including human ecology system, socio-ecological system, and natural environment ecological system. These are all interconnected, and that's the notion of integral ecology, taught by Pope Francis. So again, I mean, this topic that Dr. Lai raised today is the very bottom line of all this discussion. How can we do this? Yes, it depends on human development, changing their way of looking at the world and taking care of himself or herself first, and then he or she can take care of others, neighbors, and also environments, and so on and so forth. So I think this is a very important topic, and companies, in order to genuinely change their paradigm and accomplish something, accomplish the things need to be done in order to make the sustainable future, we need to tackle this issue, and we need to do something about this. And personally, I believe that human resource management, the area we call human resource management, by the way, I don't like the word human resources, but I mean, in companies, we call that human resources. But anyway, human resource management practices and way of dealing with people inside company, and so on and so forth. And if you can do genuinely practice something to make people inside organization, business organization, to become more, more towards the integral human development, and so on and so forth. And that is the key to genuinely do this, to genuinely shift the paradigm. So again, that depends on leadership and culture of the organization. And that is actually, me as a business professor, I think that is the emerging or imminent mission of today's business schools. And that is the topic that I've been kind of devoted for the last decade or so. So for example, in our university, Kyung University, where I'm teaching in Seoul, Korea, which is one of the largest private university systems in Korea, we changed the introductory course of business into the course titled Fundamentals of Responsible Management, starting 2012. And in this course, we try to develop or cultivate our students' leadership towards more the side of this integral leadership and spiritual leadership. Even though we don't call it spiritual leadership, we try to do that. But still, still challenges. How can we do this? How can we be we as a business educators, business schools? How can we genuinely develop our students to become spiritual and integral leaders for the future humanity, sustainable, peaceful future of humanity? So that is still the question. And again, I'm very happy to listen to Dr. Lai's lecture today, and I may return to my home with some of the thoughts that I might apply to my next semester's teaching, and so on and so forth. And once again, thank you. And
thank you very much, Dr. Pak. And I think we have also another challenging question waiting for also sharing. Thank you very much, Dr. Pak. But from a researcher also from Hong Kong, Dr. Bernard Lee did extensive research into leadership, ethics, leadership in leading Jesuit universities, including Korea, Japan. And so he asked you about the meaning of common good. Is spiritual leadership equal to integral leadership? What are the challenges of promoting spiritual leadership? Also very much appreciating your talk. Dr. Bernard Lee, you want also to add anything else orally?
Well, I just want to say thank you, for Dr. Lai. This is well, I think it's monumental to me. I learned a lot. A lot of fruits for me to think about and ponder over this spirituality topic, or especially spiritual leader or spiritual leadership. As elaborated by Father Stefan. I think the questions are always over there. To me, well, these are some questions from my mind. Despite the fact I got a lot of questions, regarding this topic. But anyway, I think for the practical side, I learned a lot. You talk about the models, about the 4 hours model, about the SOHF models. Basically, I got this kind of something very, very core. It's about the God element. The God element, because a lot of time we get into cultural differences. Talk about the East, Chinese and the Western, and it might be very much different. For a Western one, they talk about conflicts, right? In the business world, I also I've been teaching in business school. For a while. Myself. I taught in Hong Kong UST. As a visiting scholar. Well, visiting assistant professor over there, and also I've been visiting scholar in Oxford University. Currently, I'm doing a DPhil, a doctoral studies in Jesuit leadership. Okay, and that's why I need to go. I need to do research in different Asian countries, i.e., Japan, South Korea. I interview professors in Sogang University. Hopefully someday I can interview Professor Park. Also interview professors from the Philippines, from Indonesia. Well, all these are eye-opening. I learned a lot. Okay, but anyway, regarding the this kind of models, we focus more on the God element. How about the secular world? I think well, Professor Park also mentioned this. Well, there must be a lot of challenges, obstacles in promoting this, because some universities or some places, especially in the secular world, people do not believe in the higher being. They don't really have the sense. When you go to Japan, the Christianity percentage is only less than 1%, and you don't even have the right to promote this. Talk about God. I'm a Catholic. I believe I'm a Catholic myself. Talk about this kinds of Catholic belief publicly. You're not allowed, according to law, according to Shinto directive. And how can you, well, explain this, what do you mean by common good? Yep. What do you mean by, I think it might be similar to the public good. And as you said, well, it seems to me there's a little bit mixing, yeah? Integral, or spiritual leadership, are they the same? Are you talking about, something, like a mindfulness leadership? Because to me, this can be very distinctive. This can be very discrete. Something is, is very much different from each other. Yeah, for spirituality, you mentioned Fry, yeah, year 2003. But then for Fry, it also talk about, you visit the calling from above, and also you are being the member of a group, right? A membership. How about someone who's not belonging to a church, or they don't even, want to accept, this being? Okay, well, I got a lot of, questions around this, yeah, but anyway, yeah, well, Dr. Lai, I'm very much, I'm intrigued, yeah, by your talk, yeah, and just want to listen, to your answer.
Oh, I think you have so many questions. I think we should freely let you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Without feel any pressure, feel relaxed. Pick the questions you think now you feel most relevant. Yes, please.
Yeah, the burning questions over there. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bernard. Yeah.
No problem. I tried to open the video. I couldn't do that. That also maybe because of my, Wi-Fi problem. I don't know. Anyway.
But you may start with the questions on the chat room. So if you
exactly.
Okay. Thank you, Bernard. Thank you for, I can see your passion and enthusiasm. Love to meet,
Thank you.
Love to meet you too. Maybe one day we should meet in person. But
sure.
just to clarify, I prepare this talk particularly have certain assumption. Yeah, right. Because I'm based on the Papal Catholic social teaching of that, and that's why I'm not assuming all the audiences are Christians or Catholics, but I'm not trying to make a difference. But in my real world, working for 30 years in business world as well as I don't use any terms like when I did the interview. I don't use any Bible or terms or God in my real place, and I'm an advocate, especially. I think what I'm doing now, and also a bridge to translate spirituality or translate whatever of faith into the secular world, so that everyone understands. This is my principle. But go back to your question. That's why this talk only 45 minutes. I choose to focus on certain area. Cannot answer all the questions, but then just to answer the common good. Again, I don't think I'm using also the Catholic only a Catholic perspective about common good. If you ask me, I think if using this integral concept into a secular world, everyone is shared. Everyone is part of this total sum. And while everyone come together, we are having a bigger benefits, benefit the community, sharing fruits of success. And so this is also a very pragmatic way to talk about common good, because this share, but the importance is to share, whether your common good is my common good. And it comes back to the shared value, the shared common purpose. And why I mentioned about the personal value, personal mission, if there's a way, of course, aligning more, understand more the purpose and value of the organization, then we can create a common good, higher chance of creating the common good. So this common, I think, is more a shared good, but then this common good is talking about, if also an integral concept, IHT concept is everything. Whether in an organization or in a department, you are not only egocentric or self-centered way to treat people, or in whatever you do or produce, it is for the benefits, not only profit, but more. So I think I like the magic word in Asian is really more, better. Not only, but of course you are included, the benefits yourself, but also benefits other, benefits the society, benefits the nature. That's what I'm, so there's a many levels, like integral IHD is different dimension, different level, different stages, is a very dynamic approach to look at common good. The second question about integral leadership and spiritual leadership, I'm also not talking about spiritual leadership as religious leadership. I think this integral leadership is concerning the people or self as well as other people as an integral person. That means that human being will have human needs, spiritual needs, emotional needs, psychological needs. And then the spirituality part, not only spiritual leader, the spirituality part is that leader, whether they have this sense of purpose, they have this understanding of themselves as a also holistic being, have psychological, spiritual, physical needs. So that's why this holistic part, actually spiritual is included, one part of it. And what I mean, my meaning of spiritual is not only religious. Everyone got spirituality. Everyone is looking for meaning. Everyone is looking for better, altruistic way. So this integral leadership. And the challenge just to promote this, your third question, challenges to promote so-called spiritual leadership is, again, the leader as well as value, as well as do we have time and space. Just quote an example, appreciate so much the Caritas family service. Wow, all the social workers are overwhelming with COVID, with turnover, with clients' cases. When I conducted 2 weeks ago experiential expressive art workshop, 30 supervisors, 2 or 3 of them, because a secondary school students jumped down to the floor under the jurisdiction and couldn't join. So every day is crisis. So their emotional state of mind, and many people come and then feel so guilty. Oh, Christine, I'm thinking about my clients, my colleagues, and no one really think about, oh, this is so important of taking care of myself. And but sometimes it become a cycle or mechanically burnout or sometimes lost. So I think these challenges, no matter whether we put in integral or spiritual leadership, is do we have some time and space, especially, of course, I think people is more important than the system. The people, of course, system is important, but what kind of leader that they care about the human minds, human psychology, human spirituality and dignity, and sometimes we are, I think, buried into the system. I've seen so many people, whether business or NGOs, that seems like they cannot come out from that hole, that deep hole. Yeah. I don't know whether I can answer your question, Bernard. You give me more chance. We can meet in Hong Kong and share more.
Sure. Sometimes, yeah. As a matter of fact, I think the answer, even though it's not complete, but to me it's very, very, encouraging and also very inspiring. Well, personally, I very much, appreciate, your presentation, because I also, I used to work as a volunteer in the Caritas Secondary School. Oh. I worked there as a supervisor for 3 years. Oh. One of them. Yeah. So I might have, some understandings, yeah, of Caritas. I very much appreciate their 3 L's, yeah, and their mission and vision, yeah. And thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you, Bernard. I think we are blessed. We see all, so to speak, all our speakers, Bernard, we are committed for a follow-up. I think that's also what I gather from, including the reaction from Professor Park, working on these crucial issues over a decade. And that's, we are truly committed. And so maybe as a last round, Dr. Lai or Dr. Park, would you like share a last message you want to convey, because time is passing so quickly, and you have seen, you have the link to different contributions of the Macau Ritchie Institute in the chat room. So as our focus of issue number 9 was precisely on spiritual transformation. So, Christian, would you like to
Professor Park first? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, I'm very happy to join this conversation with you, Father Rothlin and Dr. Lai and all the other colleagues there in Macau or Hong Kong or anywhere else in the world. Yeah, I learned a lot, and I keep. I mean, Dr. Lai's presentation today gave me a lot of, you know, the things to further to think more from for my quest to find the solutions for this very important question. And one last comment I would like to make is, from my humble observation for the last decade or so, once again, when we first introduced this curriculum change and also our university joining the UN community. Oh, by the way, in UN community they have the Secretariat Office for business schools around the world to join this line of thought for their, you know, business education and so forth. And the thing that I would like to share with you is my observation that even though we don't call it spirituality, students' quest for the need of their learning for this kind of direction. That's for sure. And I have lots of references with this line of observation all around the world. So our discussion, I think more than ever, meet the needs of the society today, I guess. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fuck now.
Yeah,
Dr. Lai,
thank you, and I shared a lot of also learning from Professor Park and Bernard and Father Rothlin. I think I do think that highly recommend there can be a co-creation or collaboration among different parties, whether Korea, Hong Kong, whether I think especially education graduates or fresh grad or undergraduates or postgraduates, then executives or midlife or aging, because this whole integral IHD can apply to every different stages of life. I think the fundamental is everyone is looking for who I am, and whatever stage of life, but then and also everyone got the potential to reveal their true self. If we can, I don't know whether program or curriculum or experiential, and I'm very, very glad to hear, you know, your design of the new program. And in Hong Kong, I was being asked also by one university about designing something on whether body, mind, or spirit, but the term is not important. But the whole idea of how to have the space and time to, I think basically not re-give something to the student. I think it's important to let them express, let them think, let them just some questions, some stories, some examples, some video that inspire them. And I'm helping some NGOs that, or maybe young adults or different stages. I think there are a lot of potentials, hidden potentials. But then how to reveal that potential in terms, I think people like Professor Park and you have this passion, and at the same time, whether East and West, that, and I think really love and care, and let them express and co-create one of the key things I learned from Caritas is not only the integral care. I have another stream called succession and talent, because a lot of different issues about succession and talent turnover. But the whole process, I have the talent grid box and everything, not trying to use the business model to impose on them. I'm working with them, and I think this co-creation is really fun. And when journeying with them, I learned a lot from their different units, different settings. And then they think through, oh, who is solid contributor, who is rising star, who is that? And then through this process, they plan their manpower, their planning. So I think this approach of co-creation, collaboration, and different means, digital means, expressive art, and sometimes maybe our culture, right? Asian or Chinese, we can not easily express by words. There are maybe different means, journal writing, love letters, etc. I think it's so important. And I hope, I don't know, Father Robin or Professor Park, maybe we can integrate and collaborate and then create some IHD to the students, and especially to midlife executives. A lot of people asking, oh, Christine, you are a role model for the midlife, and why you early retire and became a theology student, etc., etc. But then I think a lot of people also asking the same questions. Who am I? What I'm going to do after retirement? Or oh, I cannot get rid of, that certain way of life, etc., etc. So basic questions. How do I connect with all my experience? Have I time to look at, right? EUJD, right? Father Robin, the experience, do I understand my experience, especially all those years? I have never understood my experiences and judge and make the decision in a different way. And a lot of wisdom, especially because of my mom. 98 years old, back to heaven, but my experience with her, that's why after midlife, aging, but since we were born, we were aged. But this aging journey, at different stages of life, we are still asking these questions. And how do we learn? How do we grow? How do we have a community that we can share? When organizing this aging conference, there will be one social worker from Caritas. She created the Death Cafe. It was from UK, actually. From Death Cafe concept in the elderly home, and wow, wonderful, a lot of good examples. Then the elderly found a lot of wisdom because they connected back to their stories, their strength, and their families didn't know about it. A lot of reconciliation, a lot of things. So I think it's very, very meaningful. It's also integral. How to, at different stages of life, that we are addressing the same question, because whether Confucian, Buddhist, Christianity, we are just one creation by this heaven and earth.
Great, thank you very much for your really rich sharing, and definitely we need your wisdom, your passion, and that's why I'm also so happy that Professor Park could share already today. We will have the honor to have your sharing and analysis on June 29. And yes, also there's the link to the Deignan Award for Responsible Entrepreneurship. I think it's very clear. We urgently need this kind of formation to integral human development. And I truly hope we can follow up on different points. But for today, I would just again very much like to thank Christine, Dr. Christine Lai, and Professor Stephen Park. And also, as also Dr. Bernard Lee is writing, I look forward to the further collaboration. Also with Jimmy Shum, we are building up a community, and thanks a lot, and looking forward to this follow-up. Bye. Thank you very much. Bye. Bye. Thank you.